I'm a content creator and I'm taking 7.5 months off every year without missing an upload. And you can too, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. Nearly 10 years into my career, and I'm finally making the decision to keep uploads consistent, but taking off the majority of the year. And I never realized that this was even a possibility until I was just so fed up with filming, or at least trying to film in the heat of Houston. I moved to Houston 2 years ago, and I didn't try to film in the first summer, but the second summer, last summer, I did try to film and it was impossible. My electric bill was through the roof, like $500 in one of the peak months, and I still was sweating buckets trying to film anything. So for this year, one of my New Year's resolutions is actually to not have to film in the summer, and this led me to realize too that I have created a plan of action that can work for not just the summer, but for the winter break as well, during the Thanksgiving and Christmas season. With this plan of action, I can take off 7.5 months every year and not miss a single upload date. I'm going to walk you through the process of how I did it and how you can too, and no, it is not going to take you 10 years to do this. I figured it out so you don't have to. This is going to be a simplified and easier way for you to do what I've done, because my way required a bit of trial and error and heartache in the process. I am sharing this right now because so many people can benefit from this, not just myself. And if you haven't figured this out yet, then I'm here to share it with you. And I'm sure there's so many people out there who are already doing something just like this, but I don't know how often it's been spread around the internet. So that is why I'm filming this video today, for you to gain that knowledge and be able to put this into practice if you want to. If you're a parent, your child is going to school during the school season, then you can take off summers and winter breaks to be there with your child with this plan. You can also use this plan for other reasons, like if you have a spouse that's going on deployment and you want to work super hard during the time that he's gone, and then when he's back, you can be there for your spouse. If you're in between housing, or at least you know that your lease is going to be ending soon, you can work super hard now to be able to take off a chunk of time when you're in between housing, be it living with friends, looking for a place, going on crazy adventures. If you're welcoming a puppy into your life and you need that time, that extra time to spend with that puppy until it's old enough and learns enough to be able to be left alone while you're working. Or you can use this plan for reasons that are very similar to my own, which include self-care and also working on other projects that I'm more passionate about at this time, which for me includes YouTube. Now, before I get started with this plan, I am gonna say that there are some requirements or prerequisites that I would say are important to doing and completing before starting this plan. And it's nothing crazy, and you probably already did this. But the number one thing that you're going to want is a foundation for your business. And what I mean by that is spending at least 1 to 2 years in the industry that you're in, creating content, building your workflow, your structures, your brand, who you are, getting all of that base level stuff completed before you jump into something like this, because usually starting a foundation requires a lot more work than just establishing a flow and a rhythm and a routine. So make sure that you get that finished first. I do believe that that would take at least 1 year. If you're utilizing guides like what I have available on my YouTube channel, you can certainly accomplish this in a year or less. It can take you up to 2 years, and I think 2 years is a very good amount of time for most content creators to get really established and create some sort of a system and flow and routine in their business. Establish a foundation for your business, establish a workflow and routine and system and flow to your business. Once you have that, you are ready to start, if you'd like to, on the path of freeing up your time to do other things. How awesome is that? So the plan that I've created is a 3-step plan. And the first step of this plan really is to spend maybe about 2 weeks, give or take, really spending time with yourself, your family, your friends, your pets, your house. Take care of all of these things, including yourself, to get them in a really good, healthy place. Whenever you're focused on anything in a season of your life, you're going to notice that other areas of your life, there's going to be an impact on them because you're not spending that much time with these things. I used to be a person who's been really balance seeking, and I kind of just realized, I guess more recently than not, that balance isn't necessarily that achievable or sustainable, but what you can do is you can create seasons of your life where you are very heavily focused on certain things. I mean, as you get better and older and more fluid in your approach to your day-to-day life, you can keep things relatively level, but you're going to find yourself juggling thing after thing. Like, for instance, spring cleaning, right? Like, no one's cleaning their house fluidly every single day. You're going to be spending like 1 to a few days in the year really deep cleaning your house, and that's what I mean by seasons of doing things. So that's why I think the first step is the most important. Before you go off and start working on something really hard, you're gonna want to make sure that you have a really good self-care routine, that you're spending time with friends and family, that you're getting your house clean and organized. I am telling you right now, there's nothing worse than trying to get busy, but already coming from a place of being stressed, or your house being chaotic, or your friends and family already feeling neglected. It's not good. So it's really important to get these things taken care of first and foremost. So at least spend 2 weeks, maybe more, maybe less, however much time that you think is important. I mean, I can't remember when I plan on launching this video, but if you see this video in, say, August in the summer, then maybe spend August going on that summer vacation, doing the self-care things, spending time with the people you care about, cleaning your house in preparation for September, where you're going to get busy and start this routine. So step number 2. This step is also going to be a bit shorter and get everything in order and taken care of, so that you can start the plan when it begins. If you're like me, you've had things on the back burner that need to get done. And you don't have to get everything done, but things that you're like, this has to get done, it is a priority, but it's been sitting on my to-dos, or like, this is the time of the year that I usually take care of this big chunk of work. For example, tax season, if the year just ended and you're starting a new year, or you're getting closer to March in the spring, you want to take care of some of these big heavy duty projects, right? So take care of all of these things first. Organize everything in your life. Make sure you organize all of your work equipment, clean your work area, go through all of your project files, organize all these things, create organization in your life, and complete things that are not finished. This might take 2 weeks, this might take a month, however long it takes for you. When it comes to things like this too, and I'm going to revisit this, there might be some things that you wanted to do but really are kind of meaningless. Go through your to-do list, your checklist, and really think about things. Is this something I really have to do, or is it kind of more waste of time than to actually do it? Just cut it off your list, and don't hold like a sentimental feeling to it. Like, you don't have to be so anal about everything and getting everything done. If it's something is meaningless, get rid of it. The whole idea of minimalism, or like making room for new things, includes things like this. You can't bring in new practices and new projects if you are going to be filling your to-do list with half the things being redundant and not important. So really go through your list, figure out what you can cut back on and save you time, and just break those habits that you've been doing for however long that just really aren't serving you. So after you've spent a month to 2 months working on yourself, your house, your relationships, clearing everything up, organizing everything, getting things in a really good place, you're ready to get started with the master of all plans. Now I'm gonna give you this formula, but of course, with everything in life, like, this is something that works for me and this is something that I've created, but you could be like, oh, this could be improved so much more. Please, by all means, do so. And if you can make it better and share it with the world. Because I do think that this is so important for so many people. I mean, I think so many people are really struggling to have time for themselves, time for their families and things like this. So I think it is really important to share this. Again, the whole reason why I'm telling you about this right now. So here is the plan. Step number 3. Create your game plan. This is where needing to have that workflow and structure and system in place before getting into this plan is so important, because you're gonna want to know how long it takes you to approximately to do a lot of these things. Start writing down and brainstorming and try to guess as close as possible. How many videos do you typically launch every week? How much time does it take you to film these things, to edit these things, to launch these things? Really figure out how many days it requires to get 1 week of work done. It might take you a couple days, it might take you a few, however long it takes. Jot that information down, and that's going to be unique to you. I can't give you the exact formula because it really does depend on how long things take for you and your specific workflow. I can share with you personally that it does take about 1 week of work for me to get 3 weeks off. And that does include the 1 week I'm working, so that basically gives me 2 additional weeks off. Also ask yourself, what days are important for me to take off? From what season to what season do I want to be completely off of work? Really figure out just how much time you're going to be working. Also, for me personally, I did work weekends. I did personally find that if I worked 3 weeks in a row, I would burn out if I didn't have a single day off. So what I did do for my future planning is, if I'm going to be working for a whole month, I'm taking a week off. Or I could just take off weekends so that it's a little bit more sustainable. Something like that though will really help you in the long run to be able to keep going. If you're doing this plan for like a winter break, that's going to be a shorter period of time off. It's gonna be a lot easier than taking off a longer break of time for like say a summer break. That longer stretch of time that you're going to be grinding out content is so much more draining than doing it short term. So just keep that in mind and make sure that you have cushioned room. This is so important because a lot of the times you think that you're giving yourself enough time to get something done, and then it turns out that you aren't even close or something. So you want to give yourself cushioning time and definitely time off so you don't have burnouts during this time. I also highly recommend that even though you are going to be in a content grind era, you do leave time for self-care and people you care about. If you cut all of this out entirely, it's probably going to be way too stressful on you. So please include things that are at least 1 or 2 things that are self-care for you, and at least 1 activity every day that is going to be with people that you care about, be it a friend, family, pets, so that you are getting some self-nourishment. Don't cut yourself dry during this time. It is not sustainable. It's not going to help you reach your dreams and your goals. What I like to do personally to be able to get the most accurate depiction of how long something is going to take me is to really break it down day by day and say, okay, these days I am filming, these days I am editing, this is going to be my September, this is going to be my October, this is going to be my November. And these are the days that I'm taking off, these are the days I have plans with friends, something of that sort. And then also maybe a daily plan of like, okay, I'm waking up at this time, I'm doing my self-care, and then I'm going to be working for a long chunk of hours before I take off some time to relax and unwind for my evening. Again, just because this is my workflow and how I accomplish this, you can improve it, you can change it, and you can personalize it to whatever works best for you. Once you finish creating your master plan and you've scheduled out your to-dos and you've created a daily routine for yourself, you are ready to get to work. Content grinding can be very exhausting, but just keep yourself reminded of the fact that you're doing this for a purpose. You're doing this so that you can have that time off to do that thing, to be available for that thing, whatever would have you for your break. Again, for me, it almost felt like I didn't really have a choice, which I think was a better motivator because I knew I wouldn't be able to film in the summer. I mean, I can film to some extent in the summer, but like if I'm doing more than just talking to a camera, it can be so sweaty and gross and so fast too. And Also, like, I can't really use other rooms in the house. Like, this is the only space that the AC system isn't like stupid loud if I'm filming. And even then, like, I've been going for like 30 minutes and I'm already pretty sweaty, and this is with my AC at full blast. So I really didn't feel like I had much of a choice going into this. It just felt like it made the most sense to do this. And every day I'm like, oh, maybe I'm gonna give up on my dreams and not get the summer break off. And then every time I went to that headspace, I'm like, I just can't. I can't film in the summer heat. It's not sustainable. I can't do it. I have to get this stuff done. And whatever that is for you, that's going to really push you there. A lot of the times we tell ourselves that we can't, we're too tired, we don't want to, but you can actually push yourself and accomplish so much more than you might actually believe that you can. And this is also such like a great challenge too, to be able to show you just what you're capable of, which could be so self-fulfilling. So it is a perk for doing this and getting through and accomplishing this. And again, I'm really happy that I am doing this for the summer break, which again is a lot more work and way harder to achieve than a winter break, which is a much shorter amount of time. I gave myself 3 months off, and I'm going to be doing this again. So I get a month and a half off around mid-November throughout December. And I think I'm also giving myself the first week of January off. I don't completely remember. It's on my notepad. I'll check in when the time comes. But I'm on my break right now, so I'm not worrying about that. But yes, 3 months versus a month and a half, literally half the work, and I did it. So you can definitely do this too, and it's great training and practice too. And that's another thing too. The first time you do it, it is going to be a little bit harder than the second time around, because you're kind of figuring things out, you're learning as you go kind of thing. And again, like, since you are breaking away from a lot of old habits that aren't serving you anymore, that are time consuming and don't really give value to your business or your life, you're going to be going through lots of little changes and maybe implementing different things as you go that's going to give you more speed of completing tasks and things like that. And that's a great thing too. It's like when you're put into a position where you kind of have like a harder deadline to get things done, you really do learn ways to create efficiency in your life, and it is so awesome. And also to be able to learn how to multitask in ways that you're doing a couple things with one action kind of thing. Like for instance, for me, I like to play video games when I'm walking on the treadmill. I get to take off some time for myself in a way, but still get in my steps and cardio and some exercise. So I'm not staying stagnant every single day editing on my computer. So even if you only try this one time and you never do it again, it can definitely give you some additional efficiency in your workflow, which is so awesome. Definitely brainstorm too, ways that you can be more efficient and save more time, so you can either take off more time or get things done with minimal effort. Well, that concludes my game plan for you. It's a 3-step process before you actually get started. You do the thing and then you get the time off. It sounds a lot more simple than it actually is in practice, but I do hope you give this a try. I think it's so awesome to be able to have seasons in your life that you can spend working, but then breaking free from that and just doing your own thing. It feels so freeing. Before I did this, I literally, I didn't stop playing video games, but that's something I really enjoy doing, and I hardly ever play video games, and now I'm giving myself that time again to do that. Also things like cooking and working out and meditating and all of these things that are so good that are going to feed my soul, and spending more time with friends and things. It's so awesome. My dogs certainly love the extra doggy walks around the block as well. So yeah, I'm really loving it, and I'm definitely going to have time to go on summer adventures this summer as well, which is so fantastic. I will say there are some challenges coming out of this and transitioning into your time off, and I think it is a lot more difficult for me because I am taking off a longer period of time. I had to work for a longer period of time to get here. Mind you, I had a lot of challenges working my way up here, so it wouldn't take you nearly as long and it wouldn't be nearly as stressful for you to achieve what I've done. But I definitely noticed that when you work for long enough, you start getting into like a hypervigilant state where you can't really, I mean, I also deal with anxiety, so I probably have it worse than some people, but it's harder to come out of it then and go into your break and unwind and relax. And I'm definitely in a season right now where I'm in transition. I've started to give myself the time off and start these practices that are self-care in nature, but I am finding it a little challenging to break free from those very workaholic habits, if you will. I mean, they are habits, right? They become habits. You wake up in the morning, you do your thing, you jump on your projects and work for the day, and that's your routine, right? And that becomes so habitual. And then when you're trying to break out of that, even though you were so excited to do it and you wanted to do it so bad, it's just easier to do the same thing that you've been doing every day. It's easier. And so you have to be very intentional about breaking that cycle. When you stop and you go into your break, you have to be very purposeful about it. Tell yourself, even if you have to do it step by step, because I certainly am noticing I am too. I think the biggest problem for me right now is fixing my sleep schedule. I think that will be fixed in time as I work on de-stressing and regulating my nervous system, but I am adding things slowly in and breaking those routine cycles. That is going to help me transition into my off season. I might update you babes later in the summer or in September or something when I am finished my summer adventures and breaks, so I can give you another update on that whole transition of having time off to getting back into the work mode. I'm sure it's going to be different than getting started from a place of work. I mean, I did kind of have last summer off, kind of, because it was just too hot to do anything. I think I started working like October, like really busy, and I got insanely busy in February to the point where like I was getting stress sick. And I think I did take off 2 weeks to go to Japan in March to April, and other than that, I was literally working from October to June with 2 weeks off for spring break, and also I did take a week off for Christmas. That's not going to be everyone's story, and if I did my routine the way I have it set now yearly, I wouldn't have even been working until January, not October. I would have had that whole month and a half off in winter break to situate and reset, and also there was so much nonsense I had to deal with during the winter that I would never have to deal with this time around for the next year. I hope some of you babes definitely give this a try. Definitely comment in the comment section below if you do and how that turned out for you and how it's going. I've already decided that I'm going to be sticking to this routine year after year, where I'm taking a total of 7.5 months off. Again, when I say 7.5 months off, I want to spend that time doing things I'm passionate about. So that might include more cooking, that might include creating YouTube content, that might include drawing, but whatever that means for me, it's things that I want to do and not something that I'm like, oh, this is work. Like, I'm never going to be doing anything during these seasons where I'm like, oh, I said I was going to do that, but I don't really want to. Or like today, I just don't really feel like it, but I'm gonna do it because I said I don't have to. Like, I'm not doing that. It is 100% passion projects that I am so excited and just I have to do it so badly. Like when I get ideas, I'm just like, I have to do this right now, I have to do this. Like, this idea is too great not to do it. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I'm doing during these off seasons. And also indulging in a lot more video games, spending a lot more time with self-care, spending a lot more time with people that I care about in my life, and really relaxing that nervous system, because it really needs to be relaxed after being hyper vigilant for way too many months. I do have exciting news that I'm going to be creating new guides for you. There are just so many ideas that I wanted to do, again, passion projects of mine. So if you are looking for new content of things that will help you in your workflow, in your business, creating content, etc., please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be giving you all the know-hows coming up very soon this summer. And of course, if you liked this video, please give me a big thumbs up, and of course, subscribe with that notifications bell turned on so you don't miss my next video. All right, that's it for me today. Bye for now, till next time.